Anthropic shipped Claude Design on April 17th. Figma stock fell 7.28% the same day. Adobe dropped almost 3. Wix and GoDaddy each dropped 4. The market read this as a frontal assault. 3 days before the launch, Anthropic's chief product officer, Mike Krieger, resigned from Figma's board. The reports of the new tool first surfaced that same morning. Figma was already down 6% before the launch even happened. The headline took over LinkedIn within hours. Anthropic killed Figma. That headline is wrong. But it is wrong in a way that hides the real story, which is much more useful for the senior pro who ships boardroom decks every week. The next 12 minutes give you what Claude Design actually is, the workflow that replaces your 3-day marketing handoff the moment you hand off to Claude Code, and the one boundary that decides whether this is your tool or not. Here is the shape of the lesson. First, the catalyst: what shipped, what dropped, who left whose board. Then what Claude Design actually is. In one sentence, Anthropic wrote themselves. Then the live build, a 5-slide IC memo from prompt to deck in roughly 90 seconds. Then the handoff to Claude Code when a stakeholder comes back with edits. Then the honest limits. This is a research preview, not a finished product. Then the Saturday move you can run before your second cup of coffee. The misread on Claude Design is that it killed Figma. Look at what Anthropic actually wrote on the announcement page. Their exact words: Claude Design gives designers room to explore widely and everyone else a way to produce visual work. Read that twice. Designers room to explore, everyone else a way to produce. That is not a Figma killer announcement. That is a job to be done split. The designer keeps the brand system, the multi-page app, the dev handoff. Everyone else gets the first draft layer that used to require a designer to even start. The Tuesday morning deck that you used to brief marketing on Monday is now briefable to Claude Design directly. Figma still wins the rebrand. Claude Design wins the deck. Claude Design plus Claude Code is one design ops team's worth of execution capacity collapsed into a $20 a month subscription. The brand system stays human. The taste check stays human. The 3-day brief to draft pipeline does not. Start with what Claude Design actually is. Mechanically, it is the visual sibling to Claude Code. Both products live inside Claude Desktop. Same Anthropic engine underneath. What changed is the surface. Claude Code edits text and code files. Claude Design generates real design files with editable structure, slides, layouts, page mockups, not flattened image exports. The output you download has a structure inside it that another tool can edit later. Anthropic's exact wording on the handoff is worth reading. When a design is ready to build, Claude packages everything into a handoff bundle that you can pass to Claude Code with a single instruction. That sentence is the whole architecture. Design generates first drafts. Code edits those drafts when something changes. So picture the senior pro problem this actually solves. Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. Your COO sends a Slack. We need a 5-slide IC memo for Friday's board on the Q2 acquisition target. Slide 1, hook plus thesis. Slide 2, unit economics. Slide 3, risk register. Slide 4, financing structure. Slide 5, the ask. The old path is muscle memory. Brief marketing, Monday afternoon. First draft lands Wednesday morning. 2 rounds of edits. Final ship Friday morning, 6 minutes before the meeting. 3 days of clock time, half of which is you waiting for someone else's calendar. The new path is what Greg Isenberg walked through on April 18th, the day after the launch, on his Startup Ideas podcast. He prompted Claude Design for a 5-slide deck. Claude generated it in roughly 90 seconds. He rated the design quality 8.7 out of 10. Not a perfect 10. Not a designer quality custom production, but 8.7, which is exactly what a competent first draft looks like and exactly what your old Wednesday morning marketing draft looked like 3 days later. Watch the workflow translation for the IC memo. You open Claude Desktop, you click the Design tab, you type the brief in plain English. 5 slides, investment committee memo, Q2 acquisition target. Slide 1 hook plus thesis. Slide 2 unit economics, Slide 3 risk register, Slide 4 financing structure, Slide 5 the ask, Brand color, navy, tone, sober. You hit enter. 90 seconds later, 5 slides on your screen. Real PowerPoint structure under the hood. Headers, body copy, layout grid, color theme applied. Now picture the part everyone misses. Your COO comes back at 3 p.m. Change slide 3 to add the FX risk row. The old path was open the file in PowerPoint, edit, save, send. The new path is the handoff Anthropic explicitly designed. You open the same file in Claude Code. You type, add an FX risk row to slide 3 under existing risk register, 3 sub-bullets covering currency exposure on the deal close. Claude Code edits the underlying file, re-export, 4 minutes total, the deck ships an hour later. The piece that makes this real for senior pros is the design system support. Anthropic's exact words, Claude can also apply your team's design system to every project automatically so the output is consistent with the rest of your company's designs. End quote. So, the consultant whose firm has a brand template, the PM whose company has a slide format, the finance pro whose IC memo template took 3 years to evolve, none of that gets thrown away. You upload the system once, every deck after that inherits it. Now the part of the announcement that the early launch coverage skipped past. Claude Design is a research preview, not a general availability product. Read the Anthropic support article, exact words, available in Research Preview to Pro, Max, Team, and Enterprise plans. This capability is default off for Enterprise plans. End quote. So, if you are on Enterprise, your admin has to enable it before you can touch it. If you are on Pro, Max, or Team, it is on by default and you can open it right now. The honest limits, all documented by Anthropic on the same page. Web only at launch, no native desktop or mobile app for design specifically yet. Dropped comments are a documented bug. Compact view save errors happen on long files. Large code base lag when the handoff bundle is big. There is no audit log or admin reporting in this preview. None of these break the Boardroom Deck workflow because Boardroom decks are short, the file is small, and the comment thread is between you and Claude. They will matter for the team that wants 10 people collaborating on one design at once. That team should wait for general availability. Look at the broader context too. The same week Claude Design shipped, every design tool stock moved. Figma down 7.28 to 1884 from 2032 prior close. Adobe down 2.7, Wix down 4.7, GoDaddy down 3. The market did not read this as one product. The market read it as a layer change across the design tooling stack. The tooling stack agrees with the architecture point. The first draft layer just compressed. David Ondrej shipped a tutorial on April 22nd titled How to Build Actually Beautiful Websites with Claude Design and Claude Code. He owns the website's frame for the launch window. Greg Isenberg's same-day walkthrough leaned into landing pages and live wireframes. Both creators are first mover and both are right for their audience. Neither one is for the senior pro who needs Tuesday's IC memo. That is the gap this video sits in. One more piece worth grounding before the boundary. The iterative refinement is the part most senior pros get wrong on the first try. Anthropic's exact words from the announcement page, refine through conversation, inline comments, direct edits, or custom sliders made by Claude until it is right. Tick. Read that as 4 separate edit modes. You can chat with the design and ask for changes in plain English. You can highlight a slide and leave a comment the way you would in Google Slides. You can edit text directly, or Claude can build you a custom slider control for a specific dimension you want to vary, like color saturation or slide density. Most first-time users only use the chat mode and miss the other 3. The chat mode is fine for big changes. The inline comments and direct edits are how you get to a shippable final on a tight Friday morning timeline. Where Claude Design wins: first draft decks, brief able internal presentations, urgent ship, the Tuesday memo, the Friday board update, the Wednesday client one-pager. Anywhere you would normally brief a junior designer or wait on marketing. Where Figma still wins: the brand system itself, the source of truth that defines what every deck across the company looks like for a decade. Multi-page web apps with developer handoff requirements. The full design spec a front-end engineer is going to implement next sprint. The rebrand project that requires 40 stakeholder rounds. The plugin tooling stack and component library your team built up over years. The honest read is that the first draft layer compressed. The design system layer did not. If your work is downstream of someone else's brand system and you ship internal documents, Claude Design replaces the weight. If your work is the brand system itself, your tool stack barely changed. Saturday morning, before your second cup of coffee, open your calendar for next week. Find the deck you would have briefed marketing on Monday. The board update, the client one-pager, the internal weekly review. Pick the lowest stakes one, not the rebrand pitch, not the Q3 strategy doc. Open Claude Desktop, switch to the Design tab, brief it the way you would brief a junior designer, slide count, brand color, message per slide, sober tone or warm tone, hit enter, wait 90 seconds. The first version will not be 10 out of 10. Greg got 8.7. You will probably get something similar. That is what a competent first draft looks like. You did not pay for a perfect final ship, you paid to skip the 3 days of waiting for one. Edit slide 3, edit slide 5, apply your team's brand template if you have one uploaded. Re-export, send the deck Tuesday afternoon instead of Friday morning. The hours you save are yours. One feature, one deck, this Saturday. Do not try to use Claude Design for the rebrand pitch yet. Pick the one that ships internal. The link in the description drops the Boardroom Deck Workflow one-pager in your inbox. The exact 5-slide IC memo prompt template you can copy on Saturday morning. The Claude Code handoff syntax for the moment a stakeholder asks for an edit. The boundary checklist for when Claude Design wins versus when Figma still wins, with one example per row, plus 3 worked builds, a consultant's Q2 board memo, a PM's quarterly OKR review, and a finance pro's IC investment thesis. Each one is the actual deck, the actual prompt, and a 1-paragraph debrief. Type deck inside Skool and we send it. Inside Agent Skills Academy, our community of mid-career professionals building skills for their actual Tuesday work, we run a weekly Claude Design build review. Members bring the deck they shipped. The rest of us pressure test the brief and the brand template setup. Joining is free. Every prompt template from this episode lives in the classroom there. In the comments, drop deck plus the one you are building first. I read every reply.